Hello and welcome to what was supposed to be the first session of the brand new community multiplayer for Imperator. We've played 9 years, after which point my power went out. The power for my entire street went out, and unfortunately, as I was recording at the time, it has corrupted the entire recording. So I actually don't have any recording of the session at all. I wasn't streaming because for some reason the stream just was not having any of it today. Encoding overload or some such bollocks. So yeah, I don't actually have anything really to show you other than the replay. So in this session, in this season, I am going to be playing as Parnia, and instead of being an observer. Although, if you do want to watch the observer perspective, then Vespasian will be providing that over on his Twitch channel. There's a link in the description, and I believe he's going to also be uploading it to YouTube. There will be a link to that as well. So yeah, I'm playing as Parnia. My first order of business was to do the clan council thing to get the immediate claims on people, and I managed to get the claim on Sakia, which is exactly what I wanted. I have done a couple of test runs as Parnia, and while Zanthia is the first country that I annex, having Sakia be the war target is, in my opinion, better, because when I went to war, pretty soon after the game start, I had, Zanthia and Sakia were allied with one another. Zanthia was also allied with Caresmia. So I declared on Sakia, they called in Zanthia, and I could separate piece Zanthia and then finish off Sakia, and that's kind of my preferred method of dealing with this little group. So I guess I can increase the speed and we can just go through it, and we'll see when I declare war, when I actually start marching my armies in and all that kind of good stuff. Pisuria occupied by Zanthia, yeah, of course, yeah. So I allied Pisuria and Parthia. I didn't ally Sogdiana, though I have done previously. I think that's usually a good idea. I kind of ignore the north of my country, so Sakia comes through and sieges a bunch of stuff. Zanthia sends his armies here as well. But my goal immediately is to take the fort of Kalana, and you can see there that it's just fallen. Once Kalana falls, I start marching north, taking pieces here and there and everywhere, until I manage to fully annex Zanthia. You can see just popping one after the other. It's fantastic. I can't honestly change the map mode, unfortunately, so you're stuck with this map mode. So as soon as that one's done, Parnia grows significantly, and I start sending my armies to the fort that was in Gran. Meanwhile, I had my tribal armies marching up this way to take the war goal, which was these two provinces here. I did manage it, of course, but I did have a little bit of an issue, and I got one of my tribal retinues stack wiped, though that wasn't a bad thing because it had light infantry in it, and I didn't want the light infantry. There's Parnia gone. While I was declaring on, while I was fighting Sakia, I had fabricated a claim on Caresmia, and immediately after the war ended with Sakia, I marched my armies onto their border and started sieging Gurganj. So the plan is now, of course, to annex all of Caresmia. There's the war started. You can see that the Gurganj fort has auto-occupied Kilek. But I'm not too worried about that. I also march some of my tribal retinues into Shashanem and just march forward a little bit. You can see I take Gurganj, start marching down, taking bits and pieces, and then there's also the fort in Chadrakarta, which it took a long time to siege this one, not gonna lie. While I was sieging this, Parthia, who was my ally but broke it, attacked Pisuria, and I ended up being called into war against Parthia. Pisuria completely just overrun. I did not give a single shit about them. But I managed to get Chedricarta right before Parthia starts marching into Kalana, my fort here, which hasn't happened just yet. But right before I finish this war, I also get attacked by Hyrcania, who is allied to Carmania, which is another player. He didn't join the war, but it doesn't matter so much. Parthia did have a fairly large army sieging Kalana. I went and I crushed that, and then started marching over towards Hyrcania to, relieve this area. Parthia full annexes Pisuria, and so now I'm only at war with Hyrcania and just marching through, getting all of the land that I can. Sari is a part, it's there at the fort. I have to go through this before I can get to the meaty heart of the nation. And it fell relatively quickly. I had a couple of battles against Hyrcania, one in this area-ish. It was in Hazar, because he had marched up to my capital. Didn't manage to siege it, though, thankfully. So, he went here. As soon as I started bringing my army back, he retreated to Hazar. He was probably going to try and retreat to his own land, but I had a fight there, beat him, then marched my army down into Sari and beat him here as well. Sieged it, and then that's where we are. That's the end. So if I close the replay, we can see that this is where we're at right now. My army, mostly horse archers, some light cavalry in there as well, and a single supply train. They're going to march over to Chiropolis, siege that up, and then that will open the path to sieging the rest of Hyrcania. I'll probably fully annex them and then work on Parthia next, or possibly Sogdiana. I'm not yet decided. I do have Carmania as an ally. They are allied with me right now. They are a player, and I don't know how long this alliance is going to last. It could last forever, could last a moment. Who knows? We'll find out. So I'm allied with them. I've made a deal with the Taiwan player to split Sogdiana, and I do believe I'm getting the lion's share of this deal. I am going to get the rest of Comaria. I'm going to get Sogdiana itself, and I'm also going to get Transoxus. Meanwhile, he is going to take the south here. He's going to take the rest of Oxiana, Oxiana. He's going to take Bactria, and he's probably going to take Kamea as well, though we'll see about that. There is another player down here, Parasenia, who for quite some time, he had one country to his south that he's beaten, and then he's basically been saying, oh, Carmania, hey, Babylon, will you help me take on Persis? But he hasn't yet managed to convince either of them to attack Persis. Indeed, Carmania is actually allied with him. So, he's a little bit stuck down in the south. We'll see what happens with him. My plans going forward, of course, finish off Hyrcania, then take out Parthia and Sogdiana, and I'm going to be a big chunky boy, which we'll see what happens. The Marians, the Indians, they're completely uncolonized. There's not a single pop in the entire subcontinent. That is by design. Every single community multiplayer that we've had so far has had the issue where India is the kingmaker. They are the people, or this is the region that decides who wins the multiplayers, has been for the previous 3 multiplayers. And we didn't want that anymore. We just did not want that anymore. So instead we are, it's gone. It is possible to colonize this. However, if you colonize this, then on the 1st of January of every year, said pop will die. So there is absolutely no benefit into going here whatsoever. And so basically all of my energy should be looking elsewhere. The other players in the region, so of course there's me, Parnia, Taiwan, Parasenia, and Carmania. We also have a Babylon player, we have an Armenia player, Sarmatia and Bosporan Kingdom are also players. If we look towards Egypt area, Memphis, Cyrenaica, Waset are all players. We also have a Mosilon. Looking over here, we have an Antigonid Kingdom. We have a Getia, Thessaly, and Epirus, and Sparta. So this is going to be quite hotly contested, this region, and basically all of Anatolia is up for grabs. I think there might be a Pergamon player, but I'm not 100%. It might be a thing, it might not be, I don't know. We also have a Getia player. Then moving into Italy, there is a Syracuse, a Samnium, and an Etruria. Samnium actually did something really fucking cool. So he and Etruria, of course, are players. There is Rome in the middle of the two of them, and Rome is a jewel, right? There is Latium here has, almost 200 pops. Samnium decided that he wasn't going to wait for claims, he wasn't going to wait for anything, he was just going to attack, and that's exactly what he did. He no-CB'd him on the first day that he was able to, and then wiped him out. And so really making Etruria struggle, because this is a really nice area. It's right on the border with Etruria. Etruria, of course, would have wanted that, and, well, he didn't have it. Samnium, I would say, is the stronger party of the two of them. Ally-wise, Lucania and Brutia, pretty decent allies. Etruria have Frentania and Veneto, though I have heard that he's got a sort of defensive alliance with Syracuse that no one really knows about. We also have a Carthage player, that is Iggy, and he was apparently attacked by what was a sulky player who is now dead, Cataphoros. Well, yeah, you can see how that went. We also have a Massilia player who at one point was attacking Massilia, didn't manage to get anything, was actually quite badly sieged, and then he managed to get a white piece, immediately allied with Massilia, and attacked Carthage. That war is now over. It looks like there was just a white piece between them, but interesting strategy. Iggy is a dangerous player. He is a damn good player. So trying to take him out is the right call. It is definitely the right call. But we'll have to wait and see if he's going to manage it. In Spain, there is a Turdetania player who is allied with Carthage. There is an Emporion player as well who has no real interesting allies, certainly no player allies. And we also have a Taurinia. That's it for Europe-ish area. Unfortunately, there was a... Actually, no, I think Rudignia, whatever. That's also a player. And maybe a Stuia. It looks like a player, though. I don't know too much about this region. We were supposed to have two Gallic players, so Santonia and Treveria. Unfortunately, neither of them showed up. So Gaul is still completely empty, other than, I guess, Taurinia. In the British Isles, we have Icenia, played by the former Babylon player Judas, who's doing really quite well. We have a Caledonia player who's doing also really quite well, and an Uzdia player. Caledonia has allied himself to Uzdia. However, Icenia has attacked the Carvetians, so that's these guys here, to completely avoid this, two-player alliance, and now he's at war with Caledonia. And at the moment, it looks like he's winning. He's taken two forts, and not really suffered anything in return. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. It looks like Icenia is the one that is going to win here. Pop-wise, 289 for him, whereas only 98 for Caledonia. So, yeah, it's a pretty big, pretty easy bet that Icenia is going to be the one to form Pictonia and possibly also Albion. But we'll see. So the first session, it was quite fun. I sincerely apologize for not having a full 2-hour video of all of everything that happened, the conversations between players, the strategies of moving armies around it. You could see every little detail. I'm sorry, I don't have that, but I hope this will sate you for now, and then we'll have the multiplayer again properly next Sunday. So, yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Again, just apologies for the format that this is coming out in. I hope you enjoyed this little rundown of the events of the multiplayer anyway, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.